We are live on Friday. So, we are here to talk about doing the burr. So, if you don't know what the burr is, it is not because it's cold out, which it is actually very cold out today and all week compared to it was 2 weeks ago. But the burr is you buy a house, you renovate a house, you rent the house out, you refinance the house, and then you repeat. You do it again and again. So I've got you guys up here on my chat. If you are live, if you want, you have questions, you can ask them in the chat. If you have questions, you're not live. You're watching this later. You can still leave a comment, ask your question there, or send me a direct message through Facebook, Instagram. Either one of those would be great, and I will get back to you as soon as possible. So, I believe I'm live. I am going to just double check because I do know that I have to change a setting when I go live in the Meta universe in Facebook. So I'm going to do that really fast. Bear with me for 1 sec. Go, echo. Um, this is only going to show me right now for some reason. So I don't know. I don't know if you guys can see me or not. Am I live? Thank, thank you, Boomer. Thank you, Sean. I appreciate that. So, for some reason on Facebook, I used to have to click a button, but it's working now. So this is great. All right, so we're gonna go live. We're gonna talk about the burr. If you're here in Columbia, where we had our meetup on Tuesday, you know that went on and on with a presentation about the burr process from the beginning to the end, all the pieces, all the parts, and why it might be good for you and why it may not be good for you. So, of course, real estate is available to everybody. There's a plethora of ways to get into this business as an investor, a lender, a borrower, a landlord, agent, wholesaler, flipper, you name it, right? There's so many different ways to get in. And this BRRRR process could be your ticket to just creating generational wealth, cash flow, enough cash flow to quitting your day job if you want, or supplementing your life, maybe letting someone else in your family quit their day job or not get a job, right? So there's using the BRRRR process. If you take it as serious strategy and a system, you can actually do that. You can achieve your goals if you set them out. So just a brief backstory, Michelle and I used the BRRRR process in 2016, 17, 18 to buy rental houses. We would flip a house. We bought a flipped it, took whatever profits came from that to go put a down payment on a rental house, renovated that, rented it out, refinanced, and then did it again and again. We were able to go from just 4 doors in 2015 to 34 in 2018, and then we both quit our jobs, used wholesaling as our day job, and continued to build our rental portfolio through that being just being deal finders, right? So that's how we were able to grow that, and you can do that too if that's your goal. So this is what we're going to talk about. We're going to dive into what does that look like to actually run the numbers on a potential flip house. So again, if you're watching, you can ask questions, you can comment, and hopefully I'll see them and get to them. So let me share my screen. Uh-huh. And I am in Deal Finder data right now. So Deal Finder data, let me just back up, start from the beginning. When you're looking for a BRRRR property, one of the beautiful things about this, and this is where we got in 2015, 16, 17, 18, we were pulling most of our deals from agents and MLS, right? So these deals were out there for everyone to see. And when you do BRRRR properties, you can get the good deals because as a BRRRR, you're looking for a pretty decent property that needs a little bit of love and that can be a good rental, right? So there's plenty of those out there on the market right now because they don't really fit for a new home buyer all the time, right? So you can find them right out there in the open. So I just started with going to the county that I want to look in. And so I did Richland County. So you guys can, wherever you are, Deal Finder data is nationwide. You can pick the place from wherever you are. The next thing I did is I'm I'm looking to buy one now. I want to find one now. I want to make some offers today. So I'm going to look at properties that are active on the MLS, right? So we got active listings here, and I added a few details to narrow my search. I didn't want every property that was listed, so I came down here to listing info and properties that were listed for 120 days or more. So I clicked that, and that shrank my list. And then I also went to loan to value. The loan, we only want the loan to be about 75% of the property value because we're probably going to be asking, we're going to be making offers lower than that. Another thing you can do is look at the listing price. I don't really, in our market, the average price is about 300K, 320. Average rents are somewhere around 1,500 or so. I don't think for the BRRRR that we want to do for single family, we're not going to want to pay, and we're not going to really want to buy it for more than 150 to 200. So let me just put that in here, and let's just see where we end up as far as how many options we have. 25. Great. That's easy to manage. I can manage 25 offers today. I can make 25 offers right now. So I'm just going to look through the pictures. I don't want vacant land. I probably should have put that in the search filter. You guys know I probably could have picked that out. Would have been smart, but I didn't. Moving on. So we got some condos. I don't mind a condo. I don't love a condo. This is a rental area. So what am I looking at? We talked about the 1% rule. I'm not going to dive into that, but basically it's a rule of thumb where rent is 1% of the purchase price. Monthly rent's 1% of the purchase price. Cool thing is this data, it tells you that right here. So rent is somewhere in here. Purchase price, go back. No, okay. Purchase price is, they're asking 134. So they're already in the 1% rule right now, which is great. So this is one we could jump on. Let's see. You know, why not? Let's do that one. Let's run the math on this guy right here. Hey, Amber, I see you. What's up? All right. So I've got the properties here. Now let's try to figure out if this is going to be a good flip or not. I don't know why the map is stuck on the last property I looked at. That's okay. Oh, that's why. I need to click the comps. All right, so this is our map. Here's a tip for you guys. I did not leave this tip on Tuesday, so I'm leaving it here. BRRRR properties, if you find them on the corner lot or like a busy intersection, stoplight, or something like that, great properties to do BRRRR. Here's the reason. It's hard to sell a property on a busy street or at a busy stop sign or anything like that. It's hard to sell to a homeowner that wants to live there, but the property values are still based on comps that are right around that property, and if it's in a good rental neighborhood, the people are still going to rent it, right? Because they're going to be fine renting, even though it's like a stop sign or something. So we've got a couple of those where If it's a, there might be a bus stop out front or a stop sign out front. A lot of people don't want to live there, like buy it. They don't want to commit to that, which means you can negotiate harder when you purchase and get it at a better price. So just a quick tip. All right, so we're gonna run this comps. Why are we doing a comp? We are buying this with the end in mind. And if the end in mind is that we're going to refinance from a lender, then we need to know what is the cap. What's the top? What can it be worth the most? And so we call that the ARV. So we're going to start there and then work our way backwards. Okay. We know that the lenders for DSCR loan, which is what we talked about on Tuesday, you guys, I will link the recording to Tuesday's meetup at the bottom of this because that one should be done. Our photographer should have that one to us today if we don't already have it. And I'll link that to you so that if you have questions, you can look there. But ARV, we know that the DSCR lender will give us about 70 to 80%. Generally, we just say 75. So they'll give us 75% of that ARV. So let's work our way backwards. All right, Julian, I see you. Yes, the comping tool is phenomenal on here. So well, let me show you guys what is the comping tool. It's this right here. So right here, I can just click this and I'll look at it and say, does this property look like the ARV, the best that my property can be? The one I'm evaluating. So 126 is a purchase price. I don't know. Let's look at the Google search on this. Yeah, when it sold, let's look at realtor.com. Seems like a low price. Let's just figure that out. So it sold, and this is the picture. It probably wasn't renovated. Okay, so I'm going to say that's not an after repair value. That's good to know. What is this? Single family, 200,000. This is probably an after repair value. So I can come over here and look. You've got these little buttons here. I'm just going to click it right here. Realtor.com will have our pictures for us. This is not flipped totally, but you know, move-in ready kind of deal. Rental ready. All right. Let's look up here. Oh, it even told me it was flipped. I'm going to go back, make sure you guys see that. Wait, hit the wrong button. Look, this right here flipped. So we know that this one was flipped. How do they know? Because they got the data. They know that it was bought lower, and about 6 months later it was listed and sold. So we will, oh, I keep clicking the wrong button. I can't see it. Let me come over here and do it. I got my cameras in the way. Where's 3500 Truman? All right, right there. Look at the pictures just to confirm that this was flipped. And yep, it looks great. So this is going to be an ARV after repair value. And it was sold. We will check this one. When we check it, it adds it to my comps. And I can look up here and get the data from it. That's right, Julian. This was a partner deal. This is one of our partners that did this deal. Just so happens to be in the neighborhood. And I know for a fact it was flipped. And it sold at $153 a square foot. So in the interest of time, I'm not going to spend any more time going through this. I know that this was a flip property. I know how great it was on the inside. I know that the buyer got a great deal at $193. But normally you would go through and look at a couple of these comps and come up with your ARV. So I know that 153 times, so 153 per square foot times the property we're looking at square foot, which is 1132. And that's going to give us our after repair value. Yeah, let me know if I'm going too fast if you have any questions. So somewhere between 173 and 193. So we're going to be somewhere in there as the ARV of this property. Okay. There's another one. Flipped. Yep. So there's another flipped one actually. So let's check that and see where we get. It goes up a little bit. I didn't realize it was right there. So easy sometimes. When you got the right tools, guys, it's so easy. I didn't even realize how that one was sitting right there and it told me it was flipped. So yeah, 182. So that's where I was thinking it would be between the 175, 1 or 199, 200. So, but when we go to refinance, this is the beauty of the BRRRR. We are not we're not sitting waiting on a buyer to come by and make an offer, and then we're not negotiating with a buyer and what they think the property's worth. We are only working with data because we're going to a bank and they're going to send a professional appraiser. That professional appraiser is going to do what we just did. And they're going to take the best properties because we're going to make ours the best. We're going to renovate it, right? We're going to renovate it and put a tenant. So they're going to look at the best ones, the ones that are clean, upgraded, and fixed up and flipped. They're going to compare ours to theirs. And there's no emotions involved. It's just data. So we know exactly what they're going to give the value, which in this instance, the average of the two would be about 158 a square foot, somewhere around 175. $175,000 would be the value. I'll ask y'all to think about it while I answer this question. If it's 175K, the value, then what is the bank going to give us? They will potentially give us about 75% of that. So where's my calculator? 175,000 times 0.75. We know, because there's no emotions, it's just data. We know that that bank should give us about 131. Now, y'all talk to the banks that you're going to use. Talk to your lender before you go into this, right? You can ask the lender, hey, I'm going to buy a house. I want to flip it. I want to rehab it and put a tenant in. What are your metrics? What are you going to give me on the back end? What do you need me to hold it for 6 months or a year? Will you give me 65, 70, 75, 80% of value? Will you give me 95%? Whatever it is, you can ask your lender before you go in. Now, this is all the stuff you want to know before you jump in on that, especially if it's your first or second deal. And if it is your first or second deal, let us know. Let us help you get connected. I think Amber's in here. She can get you connected with our deal partner. Our deal finder program, all the events we're doing. And we do have deal partners in here as well that can help you get connected. So if it's your first one, y'all don't go at it alone. You got a great community with the deal finders to get plugged in. And if you do need help, if you feel like you want someone to walk you through this because you got too much going on, you got a job, you got kids, you got to coach baseball or football coming up, right? We get it. That's why we have our partner program where we do the deals together. So if you find yourself in that situation, definitely reach out. You can apply for that. But yeah, don't go at it alone. The community is here to help you. So, but these are the questions to ask the lender. All right, so now we know 131 is what we can get. Now we got to figure out how do we buy this? What does anybody know what they were asking for it? I have no idea. Let me go back and find my property. How much are they asking for this property? Retail. Sorry, I should have looked at their asking price before I even clicked on this thing. List price 135. All right, or 133.5. Pretty good. So we know we got to be all in at 131,250. Now here's the kicker: you can't buy it at 131, 150 or 250, and then go say, hey, it's now worth 175. I didn't really do anything to it. I just bought it, and now can you give me more money? You got to do some work. The BRRRR doesn't work unless you buy it and do some work, and you can prove that you've done a little bit of improvement to the value of the asset. Otherwise, the bank will assume you paid 133, it's worth 133. We're not going to give you 175K value unless. This is what happened to us, and this is a story for another time. But I'll briefly, when Michelle and I we flipped a house, we had 30K. We put it down on a $135,000 purchase price for 5 units. They were tiny little units. They're little 1 bedroom, like 1.5 bedrooms. They were tiny units. But when we bought it, the appraisal came back at 210 or 220, something like that. So what does that? I mean, what does that mean? That was amazing. We were already at 70% of ARV. We were already available, to get our cash out. Well, the bank looked at that and they said, "Well, that's a pretty good deal. You're buying a pretty good deal." And talked to them and they said, "If you can, once you get tenants in, we can use that appraisal, and you're already there, and you can refi. You can do your BRRRR without having to do another appraisal, without guessing, because we bought it so good." Now, we did do a little bit of work. We paved the driveway, cut a tree down, and got tenants in. Uh, but it can happen that way. If you can get a really good deal and get a BRRRR really fast. Usually, you got to put some work into it, a little bit of effort. So let's look at this. Um, Sean, you know what stands out at me at this picture? It makes me a little nervous. I won't point it out to everybody, but anyway. Um, So what can we do? What does this need, y'all? It's pretty. It's pretty good looking. I'm surprised it's not sold already. We're not diving into why this isn't sold. That we don't have time for that. You know what I would do? I would come in and put some granite countertops. I would probably, yes, Amber. That's a great point. Y'all, if anybody wants this software that we're using, Deal Finder Data, we only have a limited number of the half off. It's half off forever as long as you use it. We're trying to get to, we're trying to get y'all to use it. We're trying to get as many people on it as we can at the half off before they take it away from us, right? We didn't invent this software. We are partners with other people, and we can only do this for a little short amount of time. So, what kind of upgrades can we do here, guys? Maybe we could throw some good floors, countertops, appliances could be upgraded, light fixtures. You can make it look nice, but the big thing for this is to get it rented. I think if you can get this looking nice, get it rented, and remember, be all in at 131. This property is it's got BRRRR written all over it. Y'all, I just pulled this out of thin air, but this has got BRRRR written all over it. Here's what I would do for this specific situation is I would go get my own appraisal, and I would get an appraisal that says, "Hey, what is this property worth if I get a tenant and it's good to go?" And see what that appraiser says. See what kind of comps they pull, because you might be able to BRRRR this one right now. If there's anybody locally that's like, "I need a BRRRR," this one could be. You'd have to put money down to buy it, but the idea is within a couple months, once you get it rented, you would be able to BRRRR and get that cash back out and have a rental that your tenant pays for in a really good rental area. So, yep, Sean, you know what I'm talking about. All right, so y'all, that's all the time we have for today's live. I know this is not, this isn't everything for the BRRRR, but we just can't. Next Friday, I'm going to continue on that, and we're going to be moving towards uh, BRRRRing properties, and then what does it look like to work in small multifamily? So small apartments, duplex, quads, 5 unit, 6 unit. We're going to be moving into that for the September meetup, because the September meetup is talking all about that, about multifamily, making multifamily cash flow. So we're going to be talking about BRRRRing, do the same situation, BRRRRing into multifamily. All right, so kind of like the 5 unit, the 4 units, the 10 units we have, everything has been BRRRRed. So we will show you kind of how to run the math there, why it might actually be better or easier, and then also why it may not be for you. So you're going to want to stay tuned for that. That'll be next Friday, same time, same channel. Uh, we'll see you there. Any questions I can answer before we jump? Just throw them in the chat. If you guys are listening to this after, you guys can just leave us a comment. If you're listening to this on the podcast, I totally forgot to mention the podcast is up and live. And you guys, if you're on the podcast, come join us in our Facebook group, on our YouTube channel, where we do these lives every Friday with screen share, questions, Q&A, real numbers, real properties, helping you guys out so that we can do some deals together. Looking forward to any new folks coming to that. And so reach out to us. Facebook group is REI Deal Finders. You guys can go there, and get connected, get plugged in. This is part of our learning series, and love to help you build your business. All right, so until next time, deal finders, go out there and find your next deal. I'll talk to you soon. See y'all.